This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
In the dark, I can't see light. Chasing the sunny side. In your mystery, I'm all alone. And the shadows scream, come home. Feel my heart losing time. Chasing the sunny side. And I know you're so and I don't like you. And I'm sick but I'm objective too. And I really think I've seen enough to know you.
MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it. I know it, and I dance a little bit to it because it's that important as we are talking. Anyways, how are you? Yes, how are you? Yes, you, and you. How are you? How are things? How was the last 24? Are you enjoying Halloween yet? That's always the next sequence of events to things to talk about, that is for sure. Anyways, let's talk about what today is. In case you do not know, today is Tuesday, October the 21st of 2023, day 304th of the year, and only 61 days left to go. Yep, that's it. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, definitely hanging out with our friends at Radio Big. So, let's ask the important questions. Is your place of work one of those places where they allow you to dress up? You know, for Halloween stuff. I mean, do they allow you to do so and they're cool with it and all that? Or are you at a place where it's kind of like, no, you don't dress up. It's very restrictive, or how does that work? I mean, in some of the places, you can't dress up because of where you're at. I mean, and what you do. I mean, I get it. Makes sense to me. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about for sure as we are hanging out. Anyway, so if you're not familiar with the show, let me kind of give you a layout of the Lando of what we do around here, because maybe that's going to make a little bit more sense and the longevity of things, opposed to me just yapping as we are hanging out here. So what we do is we talk about safety in the news and safety. Yeah, that's what we do. We have some professional broadcasters that come in and do their professional stuff because it's important to do so. Outside of that, there is a way for you to interact with the show. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That will actually get you right there into our little system, and it will allow you to say your transgressions and what you have to say. It's a video messaging system, an audio messaging system, and a text messaging system. It allows it to do it all live and in real time. I just have to be smart enough to answer. Outside of that, there's the social media platforms that you're available to do as well. But I'm really terrible about interacting with them in real time. Yeah, it's the reality of the side of what we have going on. So with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight? Because I think that's going to be important.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so taking a look around, an update on Elon's purchase of X, and UAW wraps up its strikes. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. Britney Spears says that she has a volume 2 of her memoir in the works, and 2 Southern rock groups are heading on tour. We'll talk about that as we get into show business. Also, JoJo Siwa is getting into the podcasting game. We'll talk about that as we are moving. And then we'll talk about all the lovely stuff that we should be talking about because, that's what we're supposed to be doing here. So we'll do all of that. So don't worry. We'll have you all taken care of and moving and grooving inside of here. Anyway, so with that being said, I do have some people that are waiting in the wings. Yes, some people that are waiting in wings. And yeah, Mark Mayfield is waiting to talk to you in regards about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news. So why don't we go there now?
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. The United States doesn't support a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas at this time. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters on Monday that a ceasefire would only benefit Hamas, as Israel is carrying out operations against the militant group. He said U.S. officials are working with Israeli counterparts to minimize civilian casualties in Gaza. The UN General Assembly last week approved a resolution calling for a humanitarian truce in Gaza. The U.S. and just 13 other countries voted against the truce, while 120 countries voted in favor of it. The White House is taking action to combat the alarming rise in reported anti-Semitic incidents on college campuses following the outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas.
We condemn any anti-Semitic threat or incident in the strongest terms.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security have partnered with campus and local law enforcement to address any threats. This comes amid rising tensions on college campuses across the U.S. Just over the weekend, threats were made against Jewish students at Cornell University. The cast of Friends is reacting to the death of castmate Matthew Perry. Brian Shook has more.
Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer wrote in a statement to People that they are all utterly devastated by the loss. The statement went on to say that the group was more than castmates but family, and that they will say more in time. Perry was found at his Los Angeles home on Saturday, where he appears to have drowned. A toxicology report will be completed to determine an official cause of death. I'm Brian Shook.
And United Auto Workers Union members are headed back to work soon. The union reached a tentative deal with the GM that puts an end to the strike that began more than 6 weeks ago. GM is the last of Detroit's big three automakers to reach a deal after the UAW reached an agreement with Stellantis over the weekend and with Ford last week. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunden in Mumbai. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. He says that it would be surrendering to Hamas. The World Bank has warned oil prices could reach record highs of more than $150 a barrel if violence in the Middle East intensifies. US President Joe Biden has signed an executive order to try and protect Americans from artificial intelligence.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
U.S. forces in the Middle East have been attacked 23 times since mid-October. Lisa Taylor reports.
According to a senior defense official, most of those attacks were either unsuccessful or disrupted by the U.S. military. American officials believe Iranian-backed militants are driving the attacks. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Senator Tommy Tuberville plans to continue his block on military promotions as Israel's war with Hamas rages on. The Alabama Republican disputed claims his hold on hundreds of military promotions is impacting military readiness and criticized the White House and Democrats for being unwilling to negotiate with him. Tuberville has held up the promotions in protest of the Pentagon's abortion policy. It's unlikely that you'll ever be forced to wear a COVID mask on an airplane again. The Senate has passed an amendment to a spending bill that bans federal funds from being used to enforce face-covering mandates on airlines, trains, and buses.
We've learned a lot of lessons as a result of the politicalization of science and the mixed messages that people got during the pandemic.
Senator John Cornyn of Texas, who voted for the amendment, called it a victory for personal freedom. Masks could still be worn, but it's up to the individual. It has been nearly 1.5 years since a federal judge ended the Biden administration's mask mandate. Authorities say a man found dead at a Colorado amusement park was potentially planning some sort of attack. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office says a man broke into the amusement park in Glenwood Springs after hours on Friday, dressed in full tactical gear and armed with multiple weapons and loaded magazines. Multiple improvised explosive devices were also found with the suspect and in a car that is thought to belong to him. The suspect apparently took his own life, officials say, instead of going through with the attack. And the 76ers are making a blockbuster trade with the Clippers. ESPN reports Philadelphia is sending 10-time NBA All-Star James Harden, P.J. Tucker, and Philippe Petrusev to Los Angeles in exchange for 4 players, multiple draft picks, and a pick swap. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home title locks put a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at RadioBig.fm.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you know how it is, pitfalling all the way to the bank. Pitfalling all the way with this show, that's for sure. So don't worry about that. Anyway, so let's get into what the shit list has to say, because that's what we do around here. We talk about the shit that's on the list. Because why wouldn't we? So anyways, with that being said, let's talk about it. Cross-examination in Sam Bankman-Fried's yielded some excellent exchanges as prosecutors eroded the credibility and the testimony and the character. He appears to have taken guidance from his attorney to heart, not to over-explain unnecessary things and keeping his answers to yes or no, and I don't recall when possible. The lead prosecutor racked his lavish spending over the coals. When asked if he said that he couldn't recall whether he had flown to the Super Bowl on a private jet, she asked, is that because you fly private planes that often? On Friday, SBF said that he wasn't aware of the $8 billion Alameda research liabilities until October of last year. Today, he said that as of June of 2022, he did not think of Alameda would be able to make good on its own obligation. Cross-examination continues today, so we'll see some more stuff as things continue to go. That's for sure. Anyways, take a listen to this. Just about a year into the tenure of his ownership of X, the company formerly known as Twitter, is worth about half of what Elon paid for it. Equity grants made to the employees' value of the company about $19 billion at a $45 per share. That's a drop of 55% from the purchase price. Now a private company, its value is established by the board of directors, but Musk is the chairman, and there has not been any formal announcement of a board. This is according to The Verge. So what do you think here? Makes some things pretty interesting, don't you think? When you start putting into the sequence of events of everything. I don't know how to look at it. I kind of look at it and go, it's kind of a weird one. Because when it's all said and done, when you lose a 55% of the value of your company, I don't know how you look at that as a good thing, because it definitely sounds like a bad thing to me.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Okay, the week-long targeted strike by weeks-long, I should say, targeted strikes by United Auto Workers has been tentatively resolved after the union struck a deal with General Motors. A weekend strike at GM and the plant in Tennessee helped push the deal over the finish line early Monday morning. In a statement, UAW celebrates the deal that brings the biggest base wage increases in 22 years, and it also restores the regular cost of living adjustments that were taken out in 2009 amid the auto industry's precautious financial situation. This is according to the Detroit Free Press. So what do you think here? Are we going to see some interesting things going forward, or is it going to be, the world of the strange? I never know how these things are going to work. I always look at it and go, well, this could be good, or this could be bad, or it could be, whatever you want it to be when it's all said and done. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird one, because I look at it as it's a win, but also how many things are going to go to that platform going forward? Will you see more strikes going across? We keep on talking about some of these entertainment strikes, and I'm not talking about striking for entertainment. I'm talking about related to the entertainment industry on how some of these strikes are going on. So it's just something kind of a strange one to take a look at, no doubt about that. Anyways, have you heard of, let's see if I don't ruin this, coulrophobia? Yeah, it's better known as the very common fear of clowns. An Australian study sheds light on why some people experience this phobia and so intensively. The researchers highlight the clown's traits that make people uneasy, that you don't know what the person under the weird makeup is really thinking. That is the exaggerated makeup that it's kind of disturbing. Clowns are by nature are unpredictable, and a few movie franchises have made clowns particularly freaky. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a weird one to state because there's so many people that use makeup and you don't think, you don't freak out when you see them.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a survey of the best cities for vampires to inhabit found in New York City is the place to be. Lawn care company Lawn Love surveyed about 500 cities across the country, examining all factors vital to vampiric lifestyles. New York City scored the highest in all categories with the abundance of vampire-friendly clubs, groups, casket makers, blood centers, and society-type balls and parties, according to their survey. In the Big Apple isn't where the vampires wants to hang around. The survey found that Chicago could be a good secondary choice due to the high volume of homes with basements. And, of course, Columbus, Ohio, which came in third thanks to the average annual sunshine of 46% of the year with a high number of blood drives. Rounding out the top 10 was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas, Portland, Oregon, Madison, Wisconsin, Seattle, Washington, and Omaha, Nebraska. So there you go. I don't know. I mean, is that something that you would really look forward to? I mean, everybody has to do their own thing, no doubt about that, but it's a pretty interesting one. I mean, I can't lie. I found it kind of an interesting list when I was looking through it. So it's a weird one and an interesting one all at the same time. What do you think? Is this one of these cities that you would consider moving to? Or there's this no way, Jose, that you're going to any city that would inhabit vampires or the vampire lifestyle? Because it didn't say straight up vampires. I mean, I guess maybe that's the way that that I should talk about it. So there you go. Anyways, I have Mark Mayfield waiting again to tell you a little bit about some Money Matters things. So if you're interested, let's do it.
President Biden is applauding the agreement between the United Auto Workers and GM that ended the labor strike.
They have reached a historic agreement and a hard-fought agreement that was really battled for a while, but it was all done in good faith.
While speaking from the White House, Biden called it a record contract to ensure better wages and retirement security for auto workers. He congratulated both the union and car makers. GM was the last of Detroit's big three automakers to reach a deal with the UAW after they reached an agreement with Stellantis over the weekend and with Ford last week. The new deals include boosts in wages and benefits, reduces the 8-year path to top wages to 3 years, and allows the right to strike over any plant closures. Pharmacy employees at CVS and Walgreens stores started a walkout on Monday. Lisa Taylor has more.
Some staff are starting the 3-day strike to demand better working conditions and to hire more people. Organizers are calling it Pharmageddon, and it's the third strike by pharmacists in just over a month. In September, some CVS staff walked out in Kansas City, Missouri, and Walgreens workers went on strike earlier this month.
It's unlikely you'll ever be forced to wear a COVID mask on an airplane again. The Senate has passed an amendment to a spending bill that bans federal funds from being used to enforce face-covering mandates on airlines, trains, and buses.
We've learned a lot of lessons as a result of the politicalization of science and the mixed messages that people got during the pandemic.
Senator John Cornyn of Texas, who voted for the amendment, called it a victory for personal freedom. Gas prices nationwide are falling, with experts predicting they'll fall even more in the next couple of weeks. The Energy Department says the average price of gas nationwide was down 6 cents in the past week, going to $3.49 a gallon. The cost of crude oil dropping is being attributed as the main cause. And Wall Street closed sharply higher yesterday to start the week. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had gained 511 points to 32,928. The S&P 500 added 49 points to 4166, and the Nasdaq rose 146 points to close at 12,789. Consumer and Business News, Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Mark, for that information right there. So let me kind of tell you a little bit what I found. The Dow gained about 511 points to close at 32,928 on Monday. The S&P increased by 49 points to close at 166, and the NASDAQ was up about 146 points to close at 12,789. West Texas Intermediate closed at $82 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $86 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was at $3.49 on Monday, and Bitcoin was down, let's say about 0.5%, trading just around 34,350. There was more than 2,610 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, with about 55 such cancellations. And tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for a $159 million jackpot or a $69.4 million cash payout. So I guess if you're looking for that big trick or treat, there you go. You have it right there if you want to play the game. Anyways, take a listen to this. Workers at the San Diego United School District say that the main building is full of risk and dangers to their health. Phil Farrar has more.
The San Diego Union Tribune reports staff says these are safety hazards. The complaints come after the district reverses course on plans to let office staff work remotely part-time because it would cause a lack of cohesion. Workers say there are smells of mildew and it's infested with roaches and ants. The building is 70 years old. San Diego Unified Safety Coordinator told Cal OSHA there are no problems. However, staff has been asked not to place food at their workspace to avoid infestation. I'm Phil Farrar.
That's a good one. Please don't put food on your station to avoid infestation. Yeah, it sounds like a rhyme to me. No doubt about that. But holy monkeys, isn't that an interesting one when you start thinking about it? We'll see more about that as we are going down the path here. Anyway, Baltimore is moving forward with the new design plans of the Harbor Place. The proposal includes 4 new buildings, including retail, restaurants, and commercial space, and a residential tower with up to 1,000 units, an amphitheater, and a publicly accessible rooftop park. MCB Real Estate Managing Partner David Bramble says that the project will be something everyone can be proud of.
Designed for environmental resiliency, more public and park space, better water views and water access, and a gathering place where people will want to come and shop and be entertained and work and live and linger and enjoy.
On Monday, City Councilman Eric Costejo introduced a bill that would amend the zoning code for the area. The bill was introduced by a charter amendment, meaning the city voters will have the final say. There is no word on a possible construction timeline. The redevelopment is expected to cost at least $500 million. During yesterday's Baltimore Together Summit, Governor Wes Moore said that the state of Maryland will invest $65.5 million in development. Yes, in development of Harbor Place. Governor Wes Moore says that it is extremely important to the success of the state.
I am so proud today because when I say that this is Maryland's decade, I mean that. This is Maryland's decade. But it can only be Maryland's decade if it's Baltimore's time.
And Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says the project will be completed.
Together, we're going to get it done with a chip on our shoulder, with obey on our tongues, because we know that Baltimore is a city that can be outdone by no one.
Baltimore is a city that can be outdone by no one. There you go. That's a line. That's a line for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit about things that are going on inside of the world. The TSA is asking travelers to be aware of what's in their bags when they pass through the airport security this Halloween. TSA spokesperson Lisa Fabstein says that passengers young and old can fly in costume, but that they should keep costume makeup to a minimum for security agents can still recognize them as the identification at the checkpoint.
I think we see a fair amount of both children and adults who are sporting costumes on Halloween. The kids love it, of course, and I think the adults get a kick out of it because, they're still young at heart.
Be ready to remove Halloween masks or avoid wearing them altogether. And large bags of candy should be removed from carry-on bags and placed on their own bin. And importantly, replicas of explosive, including fake grenades and prohibited items carry-ons on the check-in bags. There you go. Faberstein also says to leave the props at home or check them in your bags.
Because you're not going to need a broom to fly to your destination because you probably have a ticket.
Yeah, Faberstein also says with the reminder that replicas of explosives, including fake grenades, are prohibited in both carry-ons and checked bags.
Sometimes they look more realistic than other times. But the whole idea is we don't want somebody to see that in the cabin of the plane, perhaps another passenger or a member of the flight crew, and become alarmed, because that could cause a panic on the plane.
No shit that would cause a panic on the plane. Imagine that for a moment. All of a sudden you see a fake grenade. You're not going to know in real time on if it's fake or if it's real. I mean, we know that. You know that. So, I mean, I don't think there's an element of surprise there when you did make that particular reference. But, hey, that's just my thought process. What the hell do I know? I'm just the guy behind a microphone like I like to tell people. So, anyways, take a listen to this. A dose of reality with Halloween candy is what we need to talk about now. Here's some Bree Tennis.
It could be the scariest sound in the world, and it's not associated with Halloween. That's a dental drill, but it can be avoided. The American Dental Association says it's okay to eat candy today, just don't eat it all. They say pick chocolate over hard candy, dark chocolate has less sugar than milk, and don't forget to brush after. The ADA says cavities take about 6 months to develop, so keep at the oral hygiene. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Yes, oral hygiene is super important. Let's not do away from that. That's for sure. As we are talking. Think about that. Yeah, because, it's that big candy eating day. That would be today, just in case if you forgot. Anyways, take a listen to this. A 572-page report of the November 2021 shooting at Oxford High School in Michigan that killed 4 students and injured 7 people has been released. It found that the shooting by Ethan Crumbly, who is scheduled to be sentenced in December, could have been prevented with proper procedures and guidelines in place, and parents want changes to be made.
It means everything to us. Having the truth in the answers is everything. We want to know what happened, not just for our own stories and putting together what happened to our kids, but so we can fix the policies and the procedures.
Okay, Crumbly's parents are still facing manslaughter charges after their son pled guilty to all charges in the shooting. What do you think? Some things to think about for sure. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment. Take a listen to this one real quick. A 3-alarm fire has destroyed an abandoned Uplands mansion in West Baltimore. The fire in the 5,000 block of Fredman Road broke out around 5:30 on Monday afternoon and quickly spread with high winds. Baltimore Fire Department spokesperson Kevin Cartwright says that the crews have not entered the building to determine the cause of the fire yet.
There's been some interior collapses that we've observed and have heard. So at that point, once it's safe to do so, our fire investigators will be able to go in and begin making some preliminary assessments into what may have caused this fire.
The crews battled the flames from the outside of the building. That there was no injuries. 1920s Mansions was a summer home for a Baltimore socialite and philanthropist Mary Frick Garrett Jacobs, who left, which was later the place was later sold to a New Jersey. A new Baptist church. I'm so confused here. The city of Baltimore brought the property back in 2004. There was a groundbreaking earlier this year for phase 2 of the redevelopment of the area. This resident says that it was a huge fire.
I just see flames. Then my father coming to the house talking about call 911.
So we'll be seeing what exactly happens going forward. No doubt about that once the investigation is done. Anyways, let's go ahead and do that thing that we do right around now. We call it our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's backtrack for just a hot shit moment, because I think that we need to do that. And let's talk real quick about this 572-page report on November 2021 shooting at the Oxford High School in Michigan that killed 4 students and injured 7 people that has been released. It found that the shooting of the Ethan Crumbly, who is scheduled to be sentenced next month, in 2 months, which would be December. I want to say we're in November because technically it is the 31st of October, could have been prevented with proper procedures and guidelines in place. Now listen, sensitive subject, because let's not lie here. Anytime that children are involved with any kind of safety issue, it is very sensitive in regards of anything that you want to think about. And I don't mean that with any kind of malice. I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form to be an asshole when I say that. But I want you to think about this. I want you to put this into perspective. What exactly a report to this would sound like. It's 572 pages of somebody giving you a post-accident report, a theory. Because remember, it's not like that you're going to sit there and have some level of a timeline on how exactly things occurred and the breakdown and all that stuff on when it's occurring in real time. And, you know, people go around and say this term, and we're talking about this because this is what's in the news on how all accidents are preventable. I mean, you've heard this. I mean, if you have been on this safety path for a long period of time, you've heard that at least once or twice in your career, at least, that all accidents are preventable. Well, a good friend of mine says that, well, all lottery numbers are knowable after they're pulled. So, yes, we're looking at all of this stuff post-event. Now, safeguards are something that can be put in place. Maybe the wording of this could be different in regards on how we look at this. And listen, what I always try to do when I go into an organization and start doing an incident investigation is try to pull the emotion out of the incident. I'll tell you, in personal relationships, worst thing you can do. But when you try to pull the emotion out of it in regards of what is going on, because there's real people behind these things. There's real things that are occurring in real time. I mean, think about it. This world for the people that are going through this, everything has changed. And it's not about being harsh, but it's about having that understanding on what is going on. And sometimes it becomes a difficult conversation when you're having it because people don't understand where you're coming from. So as you sit back for a moment and take a listen to this, what do you think of? What comes to mind about post-event investigations? I mean, look at it. Hindsight's always 20/20. You've heard this a 1,000 times. If I would have known what I know now, I would have done things differently. Well, no shit. So when you do incident investigations, when you look at things currently at your job, at your place of employment, how do you look at this? Do you always look at it from the standpoint of this could have been better if X? Because if that's the case, well, then things are always going to be uppity up, I would imagine. But on the other side of the equation, it becomes a little bit more difficult when you take a look at it from a different lens. What do you think about this? This one's going to make some people not extremely happy when you start thinking about it. But let's stay in tune with reality, opposed to some of these things that people like to look at, which was, well, I could have done this if I would have known that.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
I see the way you're going home, and I see the stars and what they know. Your four walls spoke to me in truth and dreams, sinking feeling flows. And I'm alone, and I'm alone. I'm at a loss, specifically unknown. And the way you talk makes me think I'm alone. And the pieces fit together in a way that television won't accept.
Okay, here we go. 44 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out on the Rated R Safety Show. Hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. It's a 3-hour show. You can hear it on radiobig.fm. You hear the first hour here on Safety FM as well, as we are hanging and banging and doing our stuff. This right here, this is Alone by Oceanic. Oh, yes. You know, Oceanic with Alone. Yeah, I was talking last night about trying to do something with one of their songs as a permanent thing, but we can talk about that later. This song's available on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube Music if you want to give it a little streamer-eamer action. Yeah, always some fun stuff as we are doing it.
I'm at a loss
So, thanks to Oceanic for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah. Let's get back into the move and the groove of stuff. Yeah, it looks like people were not super happy about what I had to say, but hey, those things happen. It's okay. Think about it. Just think about it from perspective. I just want you to look at the big picture. Look at the big picture of when post-events incidents. I'm just saying, just look at the post-events incidents, and that will make life different for you. That's for sure. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you in my lifetime, and let me tell it to you right now. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. Yeah, no doubt about that. To write love on our arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. Seriously, go there. Click on the section that says Find Help. There's all kinds of information right there about addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, resources. Just to name a few. All kinds of numbers listed as well. There is resources after resources after resources that are readily available to you if you're so inclined to go over there and take a look-see on what they have going on. Listen, I will even tell you that it goes as far as even the events that they have going on. So if you want to take a look around, please feel free on doing so. Yep. We'll tell you, just to take a look around on what is going on over there. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's continue talking. Well, I guess before I say that, TWLOHA.com. One more time, just to make sure that we're all on the same pager. That's for sure. Take a listen to this. How did I get an ad there? That's interesting. So there you go. Let's talk about some things. Let's talk about correct responses. You've heard of the term grammar Nazis. Those who feel that it's their duty in life to point out the incorrect usage of there, and there. You get it? Or two and two. Well, new research shows that these people might actually be taking it easy on us because the effects more deeply than perhaps that we realize. Researchers at the University of Birmingham say that when people are subjected to poor grammar, it actually causes them stress and even initiates a fight or flight response, at least among some of us. That is, in their test, more grammatical errors heard and coincide with strictly regulatory and their heartbeat, and indicates a level of stress. The scientists say that the fight or flight response is actually a result of their body response to the threat of perceived danger, which is what close to those people perceive when they are exposed to a grammatical error. Think about that real quick. And those people are called teachers, just in case. Man, I bet that those scientists spell checked their press release about 1,000 times before they had the nerve to send it out. I would only imagine what you would have to take a look at. So there you go. Take a listen to this. Not only is today Halloween, it's also pumpkin carving day. I know, what a coincidence. And if carving a pumpkin is on the list of things to do hear these little things to keep some in mind. Don't throw away the insides. In the world's so-called superfood, the humble pumpkin seed is a giant among the health benefits of eating pumpkin seeds. So there you go. They contain magnesium and a mineral that many don't get enough of, which helps regulate blood sugar and lower the risk of diabetes. They're also a rich source of antioxidants, helping to reduce inflammation. They assist with sleep disorders thanks to the amino acid that they have. Pumpkin seeds are full of fiber, which helps with digestion and can reduce the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes and obesity. For men, the zinc of a pumpkin seeds can help improve the sperm quality and testosterone levels and relieve symptoms of enlarged prostate gland. Hey now, to enjoy the gourds and innards, that you can add the seeds to soup, salad, cereal, and sauces, or eat them as a crunchy snack. To cook them up, you can roast them or boil them. Here, I mean, there's some recipes that are available online. So, wow, Halloween-related foods that are actually good for you. I mean, I guess that's a first year, see, as we are talking. Who knew? Like, who knew? Seriously, like who knew? Anyway, so take a listen to this. An Iowa woman is facing charges after being clocked driving over 130 miles per hour. Here's some detail by Sue Danielson.
The Johnson County Sheriff's Office says Kenyon Thorpe of Cedar Rapids was first clocked driving 104 miles per hour on the highway. Deputies pulled her over. She gave a fake name and birth date and refused to get out of the car, then drove off. The Sheriff's Office says Thorpe then was clocked going 130 miles per hour in a construction zone and was taken into custody. I'm Sue Danielson.
Why would you give a fake name? I mean, it's not like they weren't going to find out anyways, right? I mean, what the hell's going on there? Anyway, take a listen to this. It may rank as one of the coldest Halloweens in eastern Iowa. Take a listen.
There could be some snow showers in the morning and then cold and windy conditions through the rest of the day. Temperatures will be in the 30s.
National Weather Service meteorologist Alex Gibbs, the coldest Halloween on record in Cedar Rapids was 12 degrees in 1925. In the Quad Cities, it was just a few years ago at 34 degrees in 2019. So who knows? We'll see what exactly happens there. Anyways, take a listen to this one. U.S. forces in the Middle East have been attacked 24 times in the past 2 weeks. Mark Mayfield has more.
According to one senior defense official, the rocket and drone attacks targeted bases in Iraq and Syria. Most of those attacks were either unsuccessful or disrupted by the U.S. military. That said, some did manage to detonate, resulting in minor injuries to at least 21 troops. American officials believe Iranian-backed militants are driving the attacks. I'm Mark Mayfield.
So there you go. Not sure if you're familiar with that, but now you're in the know of what exactly is going on for sure. Let's continue a little bit more about, some stuff here. Take a listen to this one. The Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office is investigating a theft of thousands of dollars worth of Comstock Township firefighters' gear from his vehicle. Take a listen to this one because it is the Captain Rick Mack says that the firefighters from was at the grocery store when the theft happened.
All the interior structural gear that a firefighter would wear. Turnout pants, boots, coat, radio, helmet, SCBA mask, gloves.
Also, the fire department captain says that the off-duty firefighter became a theft victim earlier this month.
One of our firefighters was off-duty. He had his gear in his personal vehicle, was in a grocery store shopping, and somebody scoped it out, took the gear out of the vehicle.
So there you go. Like I say, there's a market for everything, and definitely sounds like there's a market for that. Anyways, let's talk about something slightly happier. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Greg. S.C. Laurie said, "I admire the people who drink from the water of the storms in their lives and grow flowers in the most unlikely places because of it." I love this quote. I've watched this in action. I know two brothers who went through the exact same things growing up, but one has taken a victim approach to life and the other has not. He has found strength in his broken past. He uses that to help others out of the rubble in their lives. So many times, we think something that happened to us will ruin our lives. Sometimes it does, but maybe it's because we let it. Instead, use that as fuel to rocket over adversity to the success you desire. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Panera Bread is adding warnings about its caffeinated lemonade following a lawsuit. Charged lemonade contains more caffeine than a Red Bull and Monster energy drink combined. In 2022, a University of Pennsylvania student from New Jersey who had a heart condition died after drinking two of the drinks over the course of a few days. Her family sued Panera, and the restaurant has now agreed to put up disclosures about the lemonade in all of their North American stores. Oklahoma state officials have a message for owners of older homes. Anyone who lives in a home built between 1960 and 1979 should consider getting a blood lead test. Officials say lead-based paint was used on 1 out of every 4 homes built during that time frame. You can visit Oklahoma State's website for additional information. Health updates. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk real quick. I got a couple more things to talk about just in case before we get out of here. Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle reminder that people can call the hate crime hotline after a recent surge in anti-Semitic incidents across South Florida. Let's see. Jewish Senator Chabab says that for the first time ever, his children are worried about wearing their yarmulke. Oh, I can't even speak. Of wearing their hats in public. Take a listen.
On Broward Boulevard yesterday, and there are 3,000 people saying free Palestine from the river to the sea, and that means Jewish genocide.
Governor Ron DeSantis signed the legislation cracking down on hate crimes during the visit of Israel last April, and the public nuances that law makes it a felony for hate groups to harass people for their religion and or ethnicity. So take a listen to this as well.
Never in my life do I remember being concerned about my children walking the streets of Fort Lauderdale with a kippah on their head. Never, ever.
Kaplan is also worried about Jews in America.
And wondering, as I guess many Holocaust survivors think, who would hide me? Are there neighbors who would stand up for me?
So things are definitely taking an interesting twist on stuff. It'll be interesting to see what else happens with this news story because of the change of perception on people are having right now and what's going on in the U.S. Take a listen to this. Officials are laying out tips to ensure children have a safe Halloween in New York. County officials Bruce Blankman says that parents should always accompany the trick-or-treaters and go through the candy before allowing the little ones to eat the treats.
So that they're not something that's a trick rather than a treat. And this could be something that's very, very dangerous to your children's health.
Parents want, or Blakeman wants parents to be aware that cannabis-laced candy to their children don't accidentally ingest marijuana products. Blakeman is warning drivers to go slow and look for children going door to door. Adding bright colors will make it more visible. Blakeman has a message for drivers on Halloween, especially in the dark.
Kids are running around with masks on. They're excited. They are out there running across the street to see their friends. Be very, very cautious in your driving.
Patrick Ryder, the Nassau County Police Commissioner, has some safety tips as well.
Stranger danger. Stay with a pair. Wear light colored clothing. Do not eat nothing till you bring it home and your mom and dad inspect it.
So there you go. Some good tips for you in that particular regards. Let's take a look at some things that happened back on this date. If I take a look at 2018, the Statue of Unity is unveiled at in the state of, or better saying in the country of India. It depicts the Indian statesman and an independence activist who was the first deputy prime minister of the Home Minister of the Independence of India. It would be the tallest statue, standing at 597 feet tall, about twice as high as the Statue of Liberty. So there you go. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let me give you some of those. Just some, of course. Sidney Parks turns 26. Frank Iero turns 42. Vanilla Ice turns 56. Rob Snyder, 60. Nick Saban turns 72. That's some birthdays for you. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, it's National Magic Day. Let's see, National Caramel Apple Day, World Saving Day, Girl Scout Founder Day, and, of course, it's also Halloween. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you, of course. One of the most beautiful sounds that you'll ever hear is a baby's laughter, unless it's 3 a.m., then you're home alone, and you don't have a baby. Then it gets a little weird. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What scene from a movie still haunts you? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. A survey found that the worst 2 things to do on a first date. One is talking about the weather. What's the other? Going to a horror movie. If you don't like that question, try this one. In a Halloween poll, parents said that Snickers are their favorite treats to steal from their kids. What was second? It's Twix, followed by M&M's. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on today. I'm going over to Radio Big for the next couple hours if you want to come and hang out. Sheldon Primus will stay here and do the world of safety consulting if you stay on Safety FM. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Without you, it doesn't make sense to do what we do around here. Be safe out there during Halloween. If you need a deep thought for today, here's one for you. Villainy wears many masks, none so dangerous as the mask of virtue. Think about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.